Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between rolling hills, there was a dog named Max. Max wasn't an ordinary dog, he had a special gift. Unlike most dogs, Max could understand human emotions. He could sense when someone was sad, anxious, or happy, and he always knew just how to comfort them. Max lived with his owner, a kind-hearted young woman named Lily. She had rescued him from a shelter when he was just a puppy, and since then, they were inseparable. Every morning, Max would run around the garden, his tail wagging energetically, while Lily would prepare a hearty breakfast. They would take long walks through the village, and Max would greet everyone with a happy bark. One cold winter's day, the village was hit by a snowstorm. The roads were covered in thick layers of snow, and the villagers were stuck in their homes, unable to go out. Lily was worried about the elderly folks in the village, many of whom lived alone. Max could sense her concern. With his fur glistening white from the snow, Max trotted over to Lily and nudged her gently. He barked and ran toward the door, looking back at her as if to say, "Come on, let's help." Lily knew exactly what Max wanted to do. She bundled up in her warmest coat and followed him outside. The snow was thick, but Max led the way, his keen sense of direction guiding them through the storm. First, they visited old Mr. Thompson, who lived at the edge of the village. He was struggling to keep warm and hadn't been able to shovel his driveway. Max happily took a few laps around the yard, helping Mr. Thompson clear the snow by running back and forth, making little trails for him to follow. Lily brought in some hot soup and stayed to chat with him for a while, lifting his spirits. Next, they stopped by Mrs. Evans, who was anxious about being alone. Max could feel her unease from the moment they arrived. He sat next to her, gently placing his head on her lap, and she immediately relaxed, stroking his fur. Lily stayed for a cup of tea and chatted about old times, sharing stories of her childhood. The warmth of their conversation and Max's presence made Mrs. Evans smile for the first time that day. As they made their way through the village, Max continued to sense who needed him most. He always knew just where to go and how to make a difference. Whether it was bringing a smile to a child's face or calming a worried mother, Max's gift shone through. By the time the storm had passed, the villagers were all safe and sound, their hearts filled with gratitude. The storm had tested their resilience, but it had also brought them closer together. That night, as the village settled under a blanket of fresh snow, Lily and Max returned home. She gave him a warm bowl of food, and he curled up next to her on the couch, his tail still wagging softly. Max may have been a dog, but to the people of the village, he was a hero, one whose kindness and empathy would never be forgotten. And so, the bond between Max and the villagers grew stronger with each passing day, reminding everyone of the power of a loyal friend. And they all lived happily ever after, thanks to a dog who could truly understand the language of the heart.